two things I said. People wearing sticky. Task force people have a label. What was the other thing they told me to say? Oh, the December 7th.
We're almost ready.
All right. Amy, I think we need to start.
Yep, we need to get these doors
First off.
open.
There's a chart. Good evening. My name is Elena Peterson. I know many of you, but for those who don't know me, I am from Sitka. I live here with my family, and I'm the executive director for Spruce Root. We're a nonprofit community development financial institution, and we do community and economic development across the region. And our mission is to be a driver of a regenerative economy across this region so that each community can forge futures that are really grounded in this unique and indigenous place. And so we offer a lot of different services across the Southeast. You've probably heard of, a lot of people are more familiar with our business trainings and workshops that we do, but we also do community facilitation. And so the city asked us to help with the engagement process for this town hall, as well as developing a survey and really help the community put all of our best information and wisdom together to get through this growth in tourism and do it in a way that's best for Sitka. So with that, we have a brief presentation, and then we will send you into the other rooms to participate in some activities we have. So just to briefly orient us, Sitka has a 5-year, the city has a 5-year strategic plan. Can you all hear me?
Yep. Yeah.
The city has a 5-year strategic plan, and this is really a map for the community to go towards our vision for Sitka. And the goals are centered around service, infrastructure, sustainability, communications, and quality of life. There are actions in the strategic plan that are related to tourism, and both ask us to review the benefits and impacts of tourism and seek balance to promote Sitkans' quality of life. And this was a strategic plan that was developed with a lot of community input. A lot of you are probably a part of it, but this happened, a few years back, and it's, I think, just important to know that this is all part of a larger strategy that the community and the city is working through. So with that, the Tourism Task Force was recently formed by the Assembly in April, with a diverse membership that represents the community at large, including the Sitka tribe, our port and harbor facilities, sustainability, downtown businesses and general businesses, the cruise ship dock, tourism attractions, and non-voting seats for Visit Sitka and city staff. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Phyllis, who is the chair of the task force, to tell you a little bit more about what they're up to.
Hello, and thanks again for coming tonight. We're going to have a big crowd, and I think we can have fun with this, so hopefully we will. First, I'd like to introduce the members of the task force. I'm the chair of the task force, and I fill one of the at-large seats. We have Rich McClear over here raising his hand, who is the vice chair, and he also fills an at-large seat. Barb Bingham fills our Sustainability Commission. Camille Ferguson is not with us tonight, but she fills the STA seat. Cambria Holmes fills our our general business seat. Chris McGraw is the Sitka cruise ship dock. Jim Mitchner is the downtown businesses. Jeremy Plank is tours and attractions. And Scott Wagner is ports and harbor. So we're all here. We all have name tags on. We're all here to answer questions for you, and we will be out there in the other rooms. We were given 5 directives to address, and as Elena said, we were formed in April of 23. We have until April 30th of 2024 to take recommendations back to the Assembly. The first directive is the level of tourism, the level of cruise tourism for Sitka. And I know there's been a lot of comment that we waited a long time for this. Well, the majority of our members on the task force work within the industry, and they were really busy this summer. And we weren't able to get a full complement of our task force to be able to work on this really, really important issue. So we intentionally put it off until now when they were around and able to give it their attention. So we're doing this tonight, and we will have another meeting on December 7th to capture people who weren't able to do it tonight. It'll be very similar to this, but we will incorporate some of the things that you've identified maybe that we've missed to enhance it somewhat, however we can. Our second directive was to do an annual review for the City of Sitka operations and an annual review cycle. That process is in the draft form now. Our third directive was that to develop or help develop a tourism tourism best management practices, and that's a TBMP. That program is also in the draft stage. We've had our first go around out to the community. We've gotten comments back. We closed it on November 1st, and it is now we're in the process of incorporating the comments that we did get. In another week or so, we will reopen that to get additional comments. And then our fourth was policy and waterfront regulations. And our fifth is regional strategies, is to talk to the different communities in the region and try and develop regional strategies for managing our cruise industry. And now I'll get back to Elena, and she'll tell you more about what we're going to be doing.
Thanks. So I just want to reiterate, what we're doing tonight is focusing on that yellow highlighted square there, where all the activities are geared towards helping the task force come up with a number that they can recommend to the City Assembly on how many cruise visitors the city should advocate for in a negotiated memorandum of agreement with the port facility and cruise line representatives. This won't be for 2024 season because those cruises are booked. As I understand it, it could be for 2025, but don't quote me on that. I just know it's not going to be impacting next season. So, as you go into these rooms, we have some activities, and I just want to ensure you that although we're not asking all the questions that need to be asked and getting all the input on all the issues related to tourism, we recognize that, and it's because we're focusing on the levels of tourism as the most pressing issue. So each station, there's 4 stations, is going to focus on the levels of tourism, as I mentioned. The first station in this next room, you'll see the label. It's focusing on community and really getting at the character of our community, why we choose to live here, and how we are each impacted by cruise tourism. The next station in this room right here is on, we have maps on the walls, and we're asking you to give us feedback so we can hear about the impacts to recreation and the environment. And then in the far room, directly straight ahead, is a station focused on economic opportunity and impacts. And so that kind of explains itself. And then in the last room to the right, there's sort of 2 stations there that ask about the levels of cruise tourism, your priorities for managing the number of cruise visitors each year, and there's also an opportunity to provide us feedback on this session tonight. As Phil's mentioned, there will be another town hall on December 7th, and we'd love to see what worked well here, what didn't, and so your feedback is going to help inform that. And then also, if you take that feedback survey, there's an option to add your contact information so that we can keep you up to date on upcoming events. We're also going to develop a community-wide survey for anyone that doesn't do the town hall so that they can also provide input. And then I also just want to point out there's a parking lot here, so if you're not sure where to go or who to talk to or what to say or how to bring a question up, or if you want to tell us how great the snacks were or anything at all, and you don't know where it goes, you can throw it in the parking lot. I'll be looking at this throughout the night, and we'll be addressing anything in the moment that we can. And
just one more thing I wanted to mention, that the task force and other helpers will be in the other room, and you don't have to do these stations in order. So if one station, there's a lot of people here tonight, probably more than we anticipated, but if one station is full, go to another one and then come back to it. You can free flow and sort of spread yourselves out in there.
So the last thing is just to set some operating agreements for how we all show up, and this is really important. Whenever Spruce Root does anything anywhere across the region, we just want to ensure that we can show up in a good way for one another. So the first one is to just show up as your whole self. You and everything you know and the skills you have is exactly what you should be. Please be present, mindful, and engaged. You're here. Let's not waste each other's time. Use this time wisely, and please participate, give us feedback, talk to the different task force members that are here. Please practice compassion and curiosity. You know, when I hear someone say something and I'm like, I don't agree with that, instead of judging or, you know, writing them off, I try to lean in and be a little curious. Like, tell me more about why you think that. I'm just curious about your perspective. The next one, listen to understand, speak to be understood. If we all try to do more of that, we'll all be in a better place by the end. We also really encourage us to value and honor each other's diverse identities, perspectives, ideas, and voices. And then the next one I really like, it's about celebrating the progress and the learning over the perfection. And that's what this process is tonight. Sometimes things are messy. Sometimes things aren't the way we think they should be. But through a process like this and through talking and figuring things out together, we actually end up in the place we want to get to in the end because of that messy learning process. But if we're striving for perfection and things aren't perfect and that's what we focus on, we kind of lose the value of that process. So with that, I'll also say have fun tonight. I'm really excited about this event. I think the activities and the sessions that we have over here are a great way to hear all the wisdom that you bring to this topic. And with that, I'll see if there's anything you want to add as a guiding principle that I missed. This list is perfect. Great. Well, with that, I just want to see a thumbs up if you can agree to follow these guiding principles for tonight. Thanks, guys. Awesome. I think that's everything. So now I will invite all of you to just go to these stations and participate. We're here till 8. I'll be in this room all night. If you have questions, please let me know.
If you have questions at the stations, people will be there to help answer.
I told you to get lost.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Got a couple seats here, a couple seats here.
Yeah. You don't have nothing better to do today.
Got a couple more seats up here if anyone wants to sit down. I'm going to give a brief overview of what we're doing before I release you into the next group.
Watch your burp.
How are you? I apologize for the noise, but the less talking we all do, the easier it is for everyone to hear. So I will encourage you to hold your chatter for just a moment, and then you'll have a lot of opportunity to talk for the rest of the time that we're here. We have a couple seats up here if anyone wants to come up front. Alright, I'm going to do my best to talk loud so you can all hear me, but I would also really appreciate if you could pause the talking in this room so that those who are in here can hear me. Thank you so much. Well, good evening. So glad you're all here. My name is Elena Peterson. My Singate name is Gakiltin. If you don't know me, I live here in Sitka. I was born and raised here, and I am the executive director for Spruce Root, which is a nonprofit community development financial institution. We do community and economic development across Southeast Alaska. Our mission is to build or be a driver of a regenerative economy across Southeast Alaska, so that each of our communities can forge a future that's really grounded in this uniquely indigenous place. So with that, I'm going to give a little overview of what we're doing here tonight. and then I will send you on your way. I just want to orient us to the strategic plan that the city has. There's a 5-year roadmap towards the vision that the city of Sitka has set, with goals that are centered around service, infrastructure, sustainability, communications, and quality of life. And then there's some actions in the strategic plan that are related to tourism. So most recently, the city created the tourism task force that was formed in April, with a diverse array of membership that represents the community at large, Sitka Tribe of Alaska, our port and harbor facilities, sustainability, downtown businesses and general businesses, the cruise ship dock, tours and attractions, and non-voting seats for Visit Sitka and city staff. And all of those people that are on the task force are in those next 2 rooms at the different stations that you'll go to, and so they're there to hear from you and talk to you and engage with you. The task force was given 5 directives to focus on, including the levels of tourism in Sitka, which is what we're focusing on tonight. The next topic is creating an annual cycle for directing and reviewing the city's tourism operations. The next directive is to outline a tourism management best practices program. And the last one is reviewing land use regulations and waterfront development policies. And, then there's one more. And regional strategies for promoting Sitka's interest in managing tourism. So as I said before, this town hall tonight is focused on this top directive in yellow, which is on the level of tourism in Sitka. So there's many topics, many ideas, many important things that need to be addressed by the task force, but they had a lot of tough time bringing the full task force together during the summer season, because many of them it's their busiest time of year, and so finding times to all get together was a real struggle. So that's why there was a delay in getting an event like this together, but we have scheduled this one plus another town hall for December 7th, and we're also doing focus group feedback that will provide the task force with the information they need to make a recommendation to the Assembly on the number of cruise visitors that the city should advocate for in a negotiated memorandum of agreement with the port facility and cruise line representatives. So all the feedback you give tonight is going to help the task force come up with a number to recommend for that MOA. And so I'll just briefly tell you what's happening over here. There's about 4 or 5 stations. The first station in this next room right here is focusing on the community. So the real question is what the character of our community, why do you choose to live here, and how each of you are impacted by cruise tourism. In the next station in that room, so on this wall, there's some maps, and we're asking you to give us feedback on the maps to hear about the impacts for recreation and the environment. In the far room, just directly straight, there's a station on economic opportunity and the impacts to the economy. And then in the far room on that side, there's 2 stations that ask about levels of cruise tourism, your priorities for managing the number of cruise visitors each year. There's also an opportunity to fill out a feedback survey on this session tonight. So if there's anything you think that could have been done differently, or if there's something that you like, please fill out that survey. It will help inform the December 7th session, town hall meeting, as well as the online survey that we will create so that we can distribute it to anyone that didn't make it to a town hall. And then on that survey, there's an option to add your contact info so that we can continue to update you and the city can tell you about upcoming events such as this one. So, thanks. So that's the plan. Before I set you on your way, I also just want to share some guiding principles for how we show up tonight. So the first one is to show up as your whole self. Everything you know, your wisdom is important. Please show up as your whole self. Be present, be mindful, and be engaged. You're here, this is your time, let's not waste it. Tell us what you need us to know, engage in these activities, and let's make the most value out of this time together. Please practice compassion and curiosity. When I hear something from someone else that I disagree with, instead of being judgmental or getting angry, I really try to be curious. I try to ask questions. Why might you think that way? Tell me more. But oftentimes if we come to things that we don't understand with that little bit of curiosity, that childlike curiosity, we might learn something we didn't know. We might find that the thing we thought we heard wasn't as bad as what they intended. Please, and I'll say this slowly, listen to understand, speak to be understood. The more all of us can do that, the better we'll all be. I think this one is easy. As Sitkans, we would like you to value and honor our diverse identities, perspective, ideas, and voices. The next one's my favorite. We encourage you to celebrate progress and learning over perfection. If we focus on the little things that aren't perfect, there's too many bodies in here. Yeah, it's too bad. Like, that is a distraction from why you're here and the value you can bring to this process. And in fact, when things are perfect, that usually never is the case. It just can't happen. But the real value and the learning that we can do together as a community is what's going to get us to that place we all want to be. And finally, have fun. I'm really excited about this event. I think what we're doing tonight is a much better way to engage with the entire community, and I can't wait to see what comes of it. Have I missed anything? Do you want to add anything to this list? If not, could I see a thumbs up that you will follow these guiding principles? Please honor and respect one another. And with that, I will invite you to go into the next room. Thank you so much for being here. I will be in this room all night.
Don't give up on it.
As we go. I'd welcome you to come in, and there's some seats up front still, and in the middle here a little filter on in. I'm gonna give you a little overview before I send you into the other room. I will tell you in a moment who I am and why I'm on the hot mic. This will be my third time doing this, and you're going to get the best version of it. Congratulations.
Where are all your friends at?
My mom she pronounces she made me pronounce it. And this is nice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all coming tonight. My name is Elena Peterson. My Tlingit name is Gakhitin. If you don't know me, I live here in Sitka. I was born and raised, and I'm the executive director for Spruce Root, which is a nonprofit community development financial institution. We do community and economic development across Southeast Alaska. Our mission is to be a driver of a regenerative economy so that the communities can forge futures that are really grounded in this uniquely indigenous place. And we do a lot of different programs to achieve that mission. People are most familiar with our business services that we provide to entrepreneurs, but we also do facilitation, planning, community economic development planning type of services like this one that we're doing. So the city asked us if we could support their engagement with the community and facilitate this town hall, and so that's what we've done. So I'm really excited about what we have going on over here for you tonight, and I just appreciate you being here. So this presentation is just to orient you all so you're all on the same page with what's happening. The first thing is to just point out that there is a city strategic plan. It's a 5-year roadmap towards the community's vision of Sitka, with goals that are centered around service, infrastructure, sustainability, communications, and quality of life. And there's actions in the strategic plan related to tourism. And these ask us to review the benefits and impacts of tourism and seek balance to promote Sitkans' quality of life. So we really took this into consideration as we designed the activities in this room to make sure that what was happening was also in alignment with the strategic plan, which was informed by a lot of community engagement. And so we didn't want to, duplicate efforts, and we want to make sure that we were referencing the strategic plan as we built this out. So the Tourism Task Force was formed by the Assembly in April of this year, with a diverse membership that represents the community at large, Sitka Tribe of Alaska, our port and harbor facilities, sustainability, downtown businesses and general businesses, the cruise ship dock, tours and attractions, and non-voting seats for Visit Sitka and city staff. And the task force was given 5 directives to focus on. These include the level of tourism in Sitka, creating an annual cycle for directing and reviewing the city's tourism operations, outlining a tourism management best practices program, reviewing land use regulations and waterfront development policies, and regional strategies for promoting Sitka's interests in managing tourism. Tonight's town hall is focusing only on the first directive, the levels of tourism, cruise tourism for Sitka. So I know there's a lot more that we all have to say and things we want to get out. We have created opportunities for you to just share anything on your mind, but know that the task force is going to work through these other things as well. And tonight is really focused on this first important question of what's the right level of tourism for our community. The input that you provide tonight, along with input that we will receive through a community-wide survey, as well as a second town hall that we've scheduled for December 7th, and focus group feedback, will provide the task force with the information that they need to make a recommendation to the Assembly on the number of cruise visitors the city should advocate for in a negotiated memorandum of agreement with the port facility and cruise line representatives. And they need to get this number to them before the end of the year, this calendar year. So we're working quickly to get the engagement from the community to do that before the end of this calendar year. I also want to note, the task force was having a really hard time getting together throughout the summer season because many of them are in the cruise industry, and so they were finding it really hard to come together. So as soon as their calendars freed up, they started this work to really figure out how to engage with the community. So that's why we're doing this now, and it wasn't able to happen earlier in the year. So I just want to point out that the activities in this room are really focused on the strategic plan actions for tourism, which, as I mentioned before, were around sustainability, social, environmental, and economic factors, and bringing all of them into balance. So the stations we have for you start in this next room. The first one is focused on community character. So we're asking you, why are you choosing to live in Sitka and how you're impacted by cruise tourism. The next station in this room here, there's maps on the wall, and each map is asking you to give different forms of feedback so that we can hear about the impacts to recreation and the environment. In the far room, directly straight, there is a station focused on the economic opportunity and the impacts to the economy. And then the last 2 stations on that side of that far room ask about the level of cruise tourism, your priorities for managing the number of cruise visitors each year, and then there's also an opportunity to provide us feedback in this session. So if you liked what we did here, if you didn't like what we did here, if you have suggestions for improving it, or anything, we would love for you to fill out that survey at the end. It will help inform what we do at the December 7th Town Hall, as well as the survey. Yeah, we would really just appreciate you taking the time to let us know how to better engage with the community in the future. And then there's also an opportunity on that survey to add your contact info so that we can keep you up to date on the upcoming events and the work as the task force goes through this process. The last thing I just want to point out is that Spruce Root never does an event without doing guiding principles, and this is just a way that we make sure we're all showing up in a good way together. So the first thing is show up as your whole self. You, your wisdom, everything you know is exactly what it needs to be here. Please be present, mindful, and engaged. We tried really hard to utilize your time wisely and get value out of the knowledge that you all bring, but we want you to also engage so that this is valuable for everyone. Please practice compassion and curiosity. And, if I hear something that someone says and I don't like it, instead of getting judgmental or angry, I go, why might they think that? What information might they be working with? And so get a little curious. It's actually going to get you to a better outcome. Please listen to understand. Speak to be understood. The more all of us can try to do that, the better off everyone will be. Of course, as Sitkans, we value and honor our diverse identities, perspectives, our ideas, and each voice. The next one's my favorite. We try to celebrate progress and learning over perfection. things aren't perfect. This town hall isn't perfect. That's okay. We're learning. We're going to do better the next time. The tourism industry is growing, and we're learning as we go as a community, and we can do better. And so that's what tonight's about. It's not about being perfect. You know, I think that's a false thing that people strive for, but if we can all value this process together, the community will get to a much better place. Lastly, have fun. I'm really excited about this event. I can't wait to see all the feedback you guys give, but you know, this should be a good moment to engage with all the people in that room, the different task force members, and one another. I will be in this room the whole time. If you don't know like where to put something, or you have a question, you don't know who to ask, come find me, or throw it in this parking lot. So far, no one has any questions or concerns, so that's great. But if you have one, you can throw it up here. I'll be monitoring it all night, or just come to me. I'll be here as well. Any questions? Woo! That was perfect. Okay, well, thank you all so much, and please participate. Thank you for being here.
You're watching Sitka Community TV. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like what you see.